Fortnite OG, a mode that brought our hopes up and sank them down to the bottom of a loot lake, all due to some little kids named Timmy cranking 90s above our heads and to the build limit, only for them to jump off of them and shotgun us. What went wrong? Was it that the community evolved too much? Or was it just the nostalgia that we miss just from playing it when we were younger people, the group of friends that we would play with all night and repeat the next day? Hey guys, my name is Seawag, and I'm going to give you a reason for this missing nostalgia, whatever it may be, why Fortnite OG isn't OG Fortnite. Back in the day of Season 1 of Fortnite, nobody was really good at it, and we all equally sucked at it. That's my first reasoning. Fortnite's community has evolved in a way that has made it harder for casual players to keep up. What started as a game filled with excitement and novelty quickly became a competitive battleground where players became known as sweats, constantly refining their strategies and skills to the point where the game just wasn't as fun anymore for those of us who were just casually playing. For the majority of us players who aren't necessarily bad, but aren't great either, the shift toward a more competitive environment has made it hard to enjoy the game in the same way it did back then. Fortnite was a game that brought something new to the table. The building mechanics, battle royale genre still being in its infancy, and the fast-paced action were all the things that set Fortnite apart from other games. Now, the battle royale genre has become saturated, with hundreds of games trying to replicate Fortnite's formula. While many of those games have gotten closer to what Fortnite achieved, none of them really managed to capture the same magic. Over the years, Fortnite continued to innovate, adding new mechanics and features that kept the game fresh. Some of these updates were universally loved, like the introduction of new weapons or limited time modes, while others, like the mechs and Season X, were controversial. Players who weren't as skilled enjoyed them because they gave them a fighting chance against the known sweats, while competitive players often hated them for breaking the balance. But when Epic decided to bring back the OG mode, they didn't strip it down to what it once was. Yeah, sure, they brought back a lot of old content, weapons, sounds, and even the graphics were closer to the original style. However, they failed to remove or adjust the new movement mechanics that have since become a staple of Fortnite gameplay. These new movements, like wall jumping or extended jumps when you leap off the side of a building, have drastically changed the way the game feels. For many of the original players, this just feels like an out of place in an OG mode. It's frustrating to see the game we remember with its simpler, raw mechanics being altered by these newer features that weren't part of the experience we cherished. Nostalgia plays a massive role in this too. When people reflect on the past, it's common for memories to be viewed through rose-tinted glasses. The problem with this is that it's nearly impossible to recapture that feeling of wonder and excitement that we had when we first started playing Fortnite. The magic of those early days, the unknown, the thrill of discovering new places and strategies, is gone. When OG players return to this season expecting it to be the same, it can feel hollow. The memories of how the game was often so different from what's being presented that it's hard to fully enjoy it. On top of that, the addition of newer cosmetics, like characters and emotes that didn't exist back then, makes it even harder to immerse yourself in the past. Instead of playing a high-stakes competitive game, you're getting eliminated by a Peter Griffin skin dunking on you. It's a jarring reminder of how far the game has come. It doesn't feel quite right. Fortnite's initial growth was a cultural phenomenon. It was a game that attracted attention from all corners of the internet. Streamers like Ninja and Myth, combined with viral moments and memes, for example rocket riding, made the game feel larger than life. Fortnite became something more than just a game. It became part of the social conversation. But as the years have gone on, that initial excitement has settled down. While Fortnite is still undeniably popular, it no longer holds the same level of influence over the gaming industry. It's become more of a marketing tool, with each update or event feeling like another ad campaign, rather than a truly exciting addition to the game. The community's energy has shifted and the game now feels more like it's trying to stay relevant rather than leading the way. The decision to bring back the OG season was an attempt to reignite some of the original spark. But in reality, it didn't have the same effect. The player count might have surged initially, but the hype quickly died down. A day after the release of Fortnite OG, it was clear that it couldn't recapture what made the original season special. Despite hundreds of updates, Fortnite's core appeal from those early days has been dilated over time. There were performance issues and imperfections back then, sure, but it all added up to the charm that made the game unique. Now with all the settings and graphical adjustments available, the game feels polished, but it lacks the raw, authentic experience that we remember from the past. In many ways, Fortnite's early days were about more than just the game itself. It was about the thrill of discovery. Every match felt like a new adventure, a chance to learn something new about the map, the mechanics, or the strategy that would help you win. That sense of excitement is gone now because we already know the layout of the map, the best loot spots, and the optimal strategies. It's like rewatching a movie that you've seen 100 times. You already know the twists and the turns, so the emotional impact is diminished. With Fortnite OG, Epic Games tried to give us a nostalgia of those first days, but the surprise and wonder what made Fortnite so thrilling in the first place are gone. Instead of a fresh, new experience, we're left with a game that feels like a shadow of what it once was. One of the biggest issues with bringing back the OG mode is that it creates a false expectation. Players who miss out on Season 1 or who weren't a part of the original experience assume that the game will feel exactly as it did back then. However, those of us who were there from the start know that the game's evolution was part of what made it so special. We watched it grow, change, and adapt with each update, and it became something new and exciting. The OG mode, despite being a faithful recreation of older content, can't replicate the same magic. The game's community and culture have shifted so drastically. It's not just the mechanics or the map that have changed, but the entire experience of playing the game. Additionally, Fortnite's constant evolution means that there will never be a true return to the old days. The culture surrounding Fortnite has changed, and while some players might long for the simpler times of Season 1, others have embraced the more complex, skill-based mechanics that have developed over time. Players who didn't experience the early seasons may have a different perspective, viewing the OG season as a new experience. But for veteran players, it only highlights how much the game has transformed. The sense of community and discovery that once defined Fortnite is now gone, replaced by a more polished, cooperative approach to gaming. What once felt like a game that belonged to everyone now feels like it belongs to the competitive elite. Finally, there's a feeling of inevitability to all of this. As Fortnite has evolved, it's become more and more aligned with trends in the gaming industry. Battle passes, microtransactions, frequent updates, the collaborations with major brands and franchises. The pure, unalterated joy of the early days has been replaced by the pressure to stay relevant, to keep pushing the game further into the realm of mainstream pop culture. When Fortnite first launched, it felt like nothing could happen. It was unpredictable, chaotic, and full of surprises. Now, it feels like the game is constantly chasing something, trying to recapture that early magic, but never quite getting there. And for the old school players who remember when Fortnite was simpler and more fun, that's the real tragedy. Thank you guys for watching and hearing me out on my opinion on why Fortnite OG just isn't OG.